Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Breaking Bells. What is up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Breaking Bells. I am Bobby, the Nintendo Guru, joined by the most evil, wicked man in all the land, Mr. SuperNintenDad. Chris, what's up, Chris? How you doing, bro?
Oh, hey, how are you? It's great to be here.
How's your day going, man? How you doing?
It's great. I love your show, Talking Animal Crossing. Is that the name of it? What's the name of this show?
Talking Animal. Breaking Bells, man. Breaking Bells. Although you could be like, we could have the after show of this, like they do on AMC, where it's
Time Travelers Anonymous.
Oh,
yeah.
Jesus, here we go.
Yeah, got it.
So for those of you that don't know Chris is a good friend of mine. We've known each other for a couple of years, year and a half now, something like that. And he showed up in my town a couple times, dressed up as a frog. It's a little embarrassing, you know. I mean, like, this is supposed to be my friend. He's coming as a frog, but whatever. We do our thing.
I mean, it's what I usually wear. I'm not wearing it during the show, but it's what I usually a frog suit.
So here's the thing. Before about an hour ago, I started getting these text messages from Chris, and he's like, "Hey, man, why don't we do the show with both of our characters sitting in my town in the winter with snowmen behind us?" And I was like, I can't be any part of that, man. I can't be any part of what you're doing over there.
Yeah, it was a great idea. I thought it would be great. We'd just sit by the campfire. I could roll up a snowman. We could be sitting there. It could be snowing.
Yeah, no, that's not a thing. That's not a thing that I want to do. So that's fine. Whatever. For those who don't know Chris, introduce yourself. Let the people know who you are and all that stuff.
Okay, my name's Chris. A lot of people know me by SuperNintenDad. I've got some children. I like Nintendo games, so SuperNintenDad makes sense. I'm just hanging out, partying, living life. You know, the usual.
Okay, so the first question I got for you, Chris, what was the first Animal Crossing game you've ever played?
First Animal Crossing game I ever played was Animal Forest on the Nintendo 64.
So you played the Japanese version? Yeah.
So back then, I used to import a lot of games back before they would come out the same day in America. So yeah,
it's crazy, man.
Ended up importing that. No idea what was going on. I was basically I didn't know what I was doing. It was a terrible idea, but I did it. And you weren't a kid. You were still probably in your 20s, right? 30s, somewhere like that. 20s. Was I a kid or was I in my 30s?
You would have been like late. You would have been 20s, right? At that point.
I was born in '83, so I would have been like.
Oh, so you would have been like 20 something.
Like 15 maybe.
Okay, maybe 20 something or 15. Whatever.
The Gamecube came out the year I graduated, so
okay, so it was definitely
a little bit before graduation.
Okay, so you had no clue how to read Japanese.
None
you're trying to play this game that's very dialogue heavy, and you have no idea what's going on.
I don't usually read dialogue anyway, so it really worked out pretty well. I just skipped most of it. Blathers is talking. I don't care. Just hit B over and over till I don't need to hear about these fish. Okay. Just give me that check mark that I have it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so then, what is your favorite Animal Crossing game? And I would say this.
Go ahead, say it.
If besides New Horizons, because some people are going to say like New Horizons is my favorite, and I want to know before that. You know what I mean? Like, so we can kind of gauge where you were up before this game come out.
Yeah, City Folk.
Really?
No, I'm kidding. No, that's trash. Probably the generic answer, just New Leaf. I just really like New Leaf.
It seems like a lot of people either say New Leaf or the GameCube.
Yeah, the GameCube was good too. I mean, they had the NES games in there. That was a lot of fun. I had multiple memory cards, so I could have multiple towns.
Yeah.
That was also fun.
That's pretty cool.
But most of the time, I end up playing more handheld.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I spent more time with New Leaf, I think.
And I skipped the whole thing. I wanted to say this too.
Okay.
At the end of this episode, I'm totally messing this up, but at the end of this episode, I have a big announcement to make. And so I hope that if you're listening or you're watching or whatever you're doing, like, stick around for that, because something very crazy is going to happen. At least I think people are going to think I'm crazy when it happens at the end of the show. So
do me a favor.
What's that?
Don't call it a comeback, okay? Whatever it is.
Oh, Chris. Oh, Chris, you have no idea, my friend. You have no idea. Okay. So for those that don't know, I left for a while, and then I left because I had personal issues, and then I returned. And I did this whole big thing where it was like, don't call it a comeback type thing, and like this whole big mantra that I ran for like weeks and weeks and weeks until I had this big gigantic blowout Guru Direct. And then now whenever I do something and I'm making an announcement, I hashtag it, don't call it a comeback, and it makes the Nintendo dads lose their minds. So now I just do it on purpose, just to get a reaction.
Right.
And you see like the people just like totally like, oh God, again? Like one of those things. So it's fun. It's fun for me. Okay, back on track. What is your fondest memory of Animal Crossing?
My fondest memory. One that worked out pretty well for me. I remember being back on like the IGN boards back in the day when what was that, Wild World?
Yeah.
That came out. And I remember Josh got like an early copy.
Josh Thomas.
Yeah.
The Biblock, yeah.
He got an early copy from IGN, and he like did a whole thing. I was like, oh man, I want to play Wild World early. So then the GameStop that I usually went to, my one buddy worked at, and he was like, oh hey, I just got Animal Crossing and Mario Kart 7. They sent them both to me early. And so I ended up playing that in the McDonald's. I ended up playing it for like an hour. I was like, this was a waste. Now I'm gonna have to start it all over anyway. The fact that I could play it was a lot of fun.
Okay, so I kind of know. Well, I don't want to jump into all that yet. When you play a game, typically, when you're playing Animal Crossing, are you playing under the idea of like a completionist, like you have to complete the museum and all that stuff, or is that just you don't even care about that?
I get in certain moods where I'll set goals. I'll be like, oh, I want to get this, whether it's stuff to make my room look a certain way, or I definitely like to fill out the museum, especially in New Horizons. The way it looks looks fantastic. So the fact that being able to get everything in there, and I'm also impatient. So like I read like spoilers for everything. So I end up. That's why part of the reason why I time travel is because it's like, okay, I want to fill this out, but I don't want to have to wait 45 days to do it when I could just do it in 4 hours,
Now, okay, so let's get into that, because you time travel, and that's the thing. That's the reason why I wanted to bring it on, because up to this point, I've never spoken to somebody in a serious conversation about why they time travel. And here's the thing. A lot of people there's this this idea, this feeling by a lot of the Animal Crossing community that time traveling is cheating and those people are taboo per se. I don't feel that way. I feel like, listen, you paid your money for the game. I paid my money for the game. You play the game how you want to play it. I play it how I want to play it. I like to play under the idea of like, the purest fashion of like, this is how, in my mind, this is how Nintendo expected us to play it. This is the way I want to play it. But I've never talked to somebody that enjoys time traveling, so I've always wondered what causes it. What creates this idea of like, I want to jump ahead so far ahead? Because other than this game, a lot of this stuff's not really locked behind time. You know what I mean? Like this game, there's elements of it that are locked behind time. But in past Animal Crossing games, that stuff wasn't locked behind time. It was mainly locked behind an in-game currency paywall. Meaning, like, to unlock the nooks, to grow them, you had to spend money in the stores. So, but what gets you to the point where you're like, hey man, I need to go time travel?
Well, I didn't start time traveling until New Leaf.
Okay.
And it was because the only time I could play was at night. So every time I got into the game, it was just nighttime.
Yeah.
And I was sick of it.
Yeah.
So I just would move. And most of the time when I do time travel, I'll travel within that week.
Okay.
So then I just go within that week. And then I'll just move it up a day, do stuff like to unlock, because I like to have all the shops and everything unlocked and upgraded in order to get Nook's Cranny to fully expand. I just jumped ahead 30 days and then jumped right back to the day that it was.
But here's the thing, like how in this game, in New Horizons, like we didn't know there was a time frame on it, did we? Like nobody ever knew there was a time, because there was a lot of stuff, people going back and forth.
Well, there was a thing that people were like, oh, I think it's in 30 days that this will happen. So I was like, all right, well, I'll jump ahead 30 days. And then when I jumped ahead I jumped ahead exactly like 1 month after my shop opened. And they said, oh, we got an announcement that Nook's Cranny is upgrading.
Okay.
So I upgraded it, moved it up one more day so that it would be completed. And then, or I guess it would have been 2 days, and then went back to where I was. And then I started doing time traveling for other things. So it'll be like, I guess the worst case of time traveling that I did was when I had my girlfriend's Switch. And I just kept time traveling till I got a good price on turnips. It was like $5.75. Then on my Switch, I moved it to Sunday, and so I would just fill up my pockets. I knew the exact amount I had to get out of the bank to go buy 4,000 turnips, then fly to her and sell them, fly back. And I did that until I got an extra 100 million bells.
Oh my god. 100 billion bells.
Yeah.
Oh my
God. That was just on top of what I already have, but yeah.
What I already have. Okay, so you time travel, that's one thing. But do you, like, are you the type of person that gets involved in all the things? Like, do you try to, like, all the things that are like basically frowned upon? Do you jump into duping and all that stuff? Like, is that your, like, are you into
I duped a lot. Yeah, when it first came out, like, hey, you can dupe.
Yeah.
I was like, psh. I was duping the Switch. Somebody gave me that, and then I was like, this is child's play. What am I doing? I need to dupe the crown. The crown I can sell for 300,000. So I time traveled every day until I found it only took me 3 weeks, by the way, until
3 weeks of time travel.
Yeah, 3 weeks of time traveling to get the crown in the Able Sister shop.
Okay.
So then I bought it, duped maybe, I don't know, 200 million.
Okay, for those that don't understand, and I don't know how it works on this one, this is why I want to talk to you about this too, is in New Leaf, the way it would work in New Leaf is I would come to your town.
Right.
I would take an item out of my pocket, drop it on the ground. You would then do the quick boot out, where rather than me going through the gate, you would just kind of like reset the close the gates and send me home.
Right. Yeah.
And then what happened on the 3DS, there was a Wi-Fi button, and what you would do is you had to time it perfectly, but when it would be like, basically your loading screen would spin, like it has a clock that spins, and when it would spin and when it hit the one full circle, if you hit the Wi-Fi button and shut it off, there a disconnect would pop up, a disconnect screen. It would kick me back to my town. It basically reboot you back to where it was. Rossetti come out and yell at you or whatever and all that nonsense. And then you'd fire back up and I would have a crown and you would have a crown. In theory, like, what was the process that you had to go through for New Horizons?
That would have taken way too long. So here's what you do. I had to create another profile on my Switch, make another person so that they live there, had their own tent. Then then you get another app where you can call a friend, family member.
Mm-hmm.
So then you play two people in the same system. So I had a Pro Controller in one hand, a Joy-Con sideways in another. And you need to have like the main account that's playing right then. So I would get a table outside. And as I would spin the table with my other person, I would pick it up, and so it would register as me picking it up, and then when they would turn it,
okay, so it was
register
as the one person
still being on the table.
Got you. So it was registering as the one person picking it up, but because you're spinning it at the same time, it's going, wait a minute, the object is still here. So it would pull it and put it in the pocket, but yet the main one is still there.
And so if you did it right, you could just keep spinning it, and you would just keep pulling the leaf, the item, off of the crown over and over again until I got 40, and then I would just go sell 40 crowns. Wow. And since it would be so much money, they'd be like, we're just going to deposit the money right into your bank account. So...
wait a minute, wait. Oh, back up.
Yeah, back up.
How much money do you actually have here?
Well, right now I got 385 million.
Is that the max you've had, or have you had more than that?
No, the most I had was 650 million. But then a lot of times I'll just go to somebody's island and then just empty my pockets. When we could dupe. Yeah. Before I would go to people's islands and give them 100,000 bells, right? For 40 bundles of 99,000 bells. Mm-hmm. But then I realized, you know what? No, I should take 40 crowns and wear one, and then I'd take 41, and they're each worth 300. They're each worth 300.
So early on. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I was in day 1 or 2 streaming. And you come to my town. And you're dropping these items. I'm like, whoa, what are you doing? And I'm thinking you're dropping them for me to catalog. And I'm picking them up. And then I drop them. And then you drop. And then
I left.
And then you drop the crown, right? And I pick the crown up and I drop it. And you're like, I'm like, Chris, where are you going? You're like, I don't want it. And then boom, you left. And I'm like, the dude just left a crown here and a bunch of different items. And I was like, and you're like, just sell it, whatever. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I'm not gonna sell it, Chris. You're my friend. You gave me something out of the kindness of your heart. I can't sell it. And then 5 hours later in the stream, I'm like, I need money. I'm just gonna go sell this thing. So I did.
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta sell it. So that's nuts.
Right. Yeah.
That's so.
The one thing,
hold on. Here's a question. Now,
go for it.
Now, Bitterate is saying, or Pitterate is saying,
Pitt, my buddy Pitt.
Okay, Pitt is saying, couldn't you just dupe bells?
No, because you can only dupe things that you could place.
Okay.
You can't, you couldn't drop it on the table. That wouldn't count. You had to place it on the table. So then it was connected to the table. Besides, why would you want to dupe 99,000 bells when every time you dupe a crown, it's 300,000 bells.
This is true. This is true.
So, it just.
Which, by the way, they sell that thing for 1,000,000 bells.
Yeah, 1.2.
And they give you 300,000 for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like GameStop. The Nook's Cranny is the GameStop of Animal Crossing. That's what they.
Listen, man, I was just working on the GameStop sponsorship. Now that's out the window. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. It's all right. I don't think that sponsorship was gonna last much longer anyway.
This is true. This is true. So now, when I listened to you, you did the interview of a time traveler on N64 Josh's channel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that just
I know that guy,
dude. I laughed so hard at that interview. But in that, you talked about you really wanted to play New Leaf in a New Horizons in a natural, just a regular playthrough. Why? Yeah. Why the change of heart?
Well, that's what happened. I did it Friday, like a Thursday, when the clock turned midnight. I played it. Which, by the way, you always talk about. You don't time travel yet. You created a fake Japanese account because you don't live in Japan. Do you live in Japan?
Sometimes.
Right now, like, where are you in Jersey or
I'm
Japan?
in the United
That's
States.
the real question.
I'm in the United States.
Yeah.
Yes.
So then you created this fake account.
Mm-hmm. It's not a fake account. It's real.
No, well, it's for Japanese.
So the reason why I created the account, there's a couple of reasons.
Yeah. Let's hear it. Yeah.
Well, okay. So I have a European account.
Mm-hmm.
I have a North American account.
Yeah.
And I have a Japanese account.
Yes.
So the reason why I have the European.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
And the North American is because you and I get codes from developers.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's easier for them to just give me a European code because the North American codes wipe out pretty quickly. Right. So I usually will be like, hey, I'll take any code you have. And they'll either give me North American or they'll give me European. Doesn't matter to me. The Japanese one I totally bought because I wanted Animal Crossing as early as I could possibly get my hands on it.
Right.
Which was 13 hours early.
13 hours. You cheated.
How did I cheat?
How is that not cheating?
Because I just wanted to play the game early. That's not cheating.
That's like me saying, well, I just wanted to get Nook's Cranny early. That's not cheating.
There's difference.
There's
a huge difference.
What's the huge difference? You went out of your way to
play a game.
A Japanese account.
To play a game. Not to cheat.
Mm-hmm.
Not to go.
Yeah, you cheated by playing it early. I couldn't play it early.
You could have. You chose not to.
Just like you could time travel, but you just choose not to.
There's a big difference. There's a massive difference.
I don't see a massive difference. You played it 13 hours.
Yeah.
In real time before I did.
But I've never moved the clock. I never moved the clock to get ahead. You don't have it.
Okay, well, hey, listen. If that's how you want to live your life as a liar, a cheater, it's understandable. I understand. Okay.
Wow. The clock's
here's the thing.
The tables are turned.
That I time travel. Yeah.
I didn't time travel, dude. I played the game. Okay, listen.
You time traveled in the real world sense by creating a Japanese account that is 13 hours ahead. So therefore, you're time traveling by being back in time, but playing in an account that is in the future.
So here's the thing.
My sir.
Here's the thing.
Here's the thing. Yes, of course.
I needed this game as early as possible. Okay, I did it for. I'll be honest with you. I did it for clicks. I did it for whatever. Yeah. I wanted to be. And by the way, that first stream, people, 30, 40 people all day long coming in. We actually had to make a command in the chat to explain why I'm playing it so early. Because people were like, how did you get the game already? And I was just like, create a Japanese account. Everybody that came to that stream that day could have went and done the same thing. Some people did. Now, if I was really crooked, I would have created an Australian one. Because then I could have got it even earlier. But I was like, no, I'm just going to do Japanese. And I'll be honest with you. I didn't even know it was going to work until the day of. I was so scared it wasn't going to work. Because
I mean, you could have just changed your region on your account. They would have gotten rid of all your gold coins, but you could have got it on from your account.
I didn't even realize that. I know. I know. I know. I didn't realize that because I did change the region on my So what I did was I created a profile, which I had that profile for a super long time. Like that profile was not made for this game. I made this profile for because I had on there. I have Nintendo Guru on my system. I have UK Guru and Japan Guru. Those are ones that have always been on my console for years now. Just like I said, in case I wanted to buy something that was a Japanese game.
Plus, sometimes they have demos.
Yeah, they have something. They have. Well, the main reason why I did it, honestly, was for the NES.
Oh yeah, because you can get that and play it on your.
Dude, they're better. They're better games. Yeah. The Famicom games, so you play Zelda and you play like Metroid. The music is 10 times better. So that's why that's why I created that account originally, so I could get the Nintendo Online games on that console. So that being said, like I just wanted to play the game as early as possible. That's all. That's all.
That's fine. You do you. You do you.
Stop.
You do you.
You know what? You're trying to make me feel like I did something wrong.
I'm not trying to make you feel like anything.
Yeah, you are. I'm just saying. Just because you like to time travel, and you like to cheat and dupe, don't throw me under that title.
Yeah, I didn't enter any Game Shark codes. I wasn't cheating.
I didn't either. I don't have a Game Shark.
Is there Game Genie? Hook up the old Game Genie.
Oh, dude, that's back in the day. That's
no, I believe now the cheat codes are called DLC. So.
How's that cheat code for DLC?
Like there's a bunch of games where you can get like different colored outfits or get things earlier by paying for the DLC.
Okay, here's my question for you.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Let's get back on track, Bobby. Please.
Let's get it back under control here. So you're through your time traveling, you're seeing times. Do you feel weird like when you go to December 25th or the month of December and like nobody's there? Like the holidays aren't there? Does that?
No, I think the weirdest part is when I'm playing and it's like 12, let's say like 12 noon when I'm playing the game and it looks super nice and everything, and then I look outside and it's like 9:30 at night. It's like jarring. That's the only difference. I mean, I come to expect them not being there with how the updates are going.
I think it's kind of one of those ingenious things by Nintendo, like to go, hey, we know time travelers are going to be there. We know that this game is streamed all over, and people are going to basically go get the content first and just try to be the first one to put it out there.
Sorry, what? Karen. Karen's hating on me. Karen. But anyway, so
Karen is right. I'm sorry that you are trash and you're a time traveler.
She didn't say all that.
That's what I read. See, here's the thing. You read it as, don't feel bad, Bobby, he's wrong. When I read it, the words just change, and it goes, he's trash, don't feel bad. So, So go ahead. Get back to where you were.
So what you were asking, I didn't do it for content, like to make content.
No, I know that. But I'm saying that's what Nintendo basically tried to. That was Nintendo.
Well, yeah, they didn't want everything leaking out at once. Like they didn't want me to start the game, go to Christmas, and see all the stuff. I mean, when I go to December, I've gone to December just to see what like the snow is like. And
that's why I went to December to see what the snow looks like.
Yeah, I went. Yeah. And they have, okay, I'll tell you another thing. We'll get back to it. But you go there and they got like bells. Not bells. Like jingle bells hanging on certain trees. And so they're for DIY stuff. But the one thing that sucks is this is definitely a time traveler problem.
Oh, poor you. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for you.
Just give me a minute. I'm a little verklempt. Okay. All right.
What?
Okay. All right.
Don't use words like that here. I haven't watched Bugs Bunny this morning, man.
All right. Hold on. So, when I go to look at my screenshots when I go to look at my clips,
Mm-hmm.
when I time travel, the stuff from like December or November is in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if I move back to like now and take a picture for something during May Day, I have to scroll all the way down to May, and I take a lot of screenshots and videos. First traveler problems, yeah. And it's just so devastating, you know? It's just
So you have to try. You have to go. You know what?
Scroll through all of them. You should see them all. So many.
You should create an Instagram, and call yourself like the Wicked Time Traveler or something like that, and then just post these pictures of your life. Your life as a time traveler.
Yeah. You know what? I'll name it Traveling for Tom. Tom Nook. Traveling for Tom.
There you go.
Just go ahead and boom.
I had a friend, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who used to tell me that they believed that there was a time traveler in the real world. I forget the name of the guy. The time traveler.
Bobby. I think it was Bob.
It wasn't Bobby.
Bobby. You talking about yourself?
John something. But he kept like he'd do these blog posts and say that like he kind of treated himself like he was Doctor Who. Like he would do these blog posts like he was Doctor Who, but apparently like he would literally like disappear for long periods of time and then just pop back, right? That's what you could do a blog post does. Like you're traveling through the Animal Crossing universe to try to save us all from Tom Nook's debaucheries. And like, you know, you could create this whole tale and this narrative and like take pictures of animals that are doing things that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, that's true. Like you get little dung beetles and they'll be pushing the snowballs. Yeah.
That is the funniest thing ever. Like, really? This little thing's gonna push the snowball? Like, it's that's a lot of stuff. So as you're time traveling, obviously, I mean, it's no different
catching
than
sharks.
Yeah, like that's what I say. It's no different to being like on the southern hemisphere. What I do wonder though is, are all the fish and the bugs truly in this game? Or is Nintendo going to slowly add stuff later on to expand it a little bit? Well,
they might add more later, but I think all the ones that you can catch, you can go.
Yeah.
Because I know there were some that were only in like this January or something. Mm-hmm. So when the game first came out, I forget who it was. Some of the reviewers said they went back just so they could catch them, so they didn't have to wait again till next January or February.
That would be kind of cool to like see them actually come in and add more bugs and more fossils. Because right now, like I've completed my museum, and it's like it's boring. Like I completed my fossils, and now it's like it's boring because you know there's X's there to pick up, but it's just like, well, big deal because I've already completed the fossils, you know. So it's like I still dig them up just in case somebody else needs them.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's kind of like just melodramatic now, just to pull them up. You know, the one thing that's kind of cool though is we can decorate them with, like, we can put them on the outside of our, like I have, I have like the T-Rex in front of my museum, and that's kind of like my focal piece to the museum, and that's, to me, that's fun. But the rest is just like, whatever, you know.
It would be cool if you could either build or buy outdoor exhibits to put like insects or bugs in.
Yeah, that would be cool.
So they're not just inside the one container.
Yeah, that would be kind of dope.
Yeah,
that's the one thing. Yeah, like although I do like what Chip and Flick do, where I think it's Flick actually that they can actually like make a statue out of a bug. Which, when you think about what he's really doing, it's kind of creepy, you know. Like he's basically just like sucking the life out of these.
He's making a statue out of them. He's making a replica of them.
I don't know if he's making a replica, but I think he's basically taking their carcasses and doing some stuff with them.
Well, no, if you look at some of them, they're actually bigger than the bug themselves.
Well, of course. So he's basically ripping them apart and using their body parts. So he's taking one, ripping the body parts apart, and making it bigger.
So you're saying if you could zoom in, you would see all the different...
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
I'm
saying the guy's probably a serial killer if we paid attention to it.
Yeah, it's like the human centipede, basically, is what you're getting at.
Wow, you didn't need to take it there, man.
Well, I'm just saying, is that what you're talking about?
I'm probably
you got really dark.
I'm thinking probably more like Tusk. Like it probably would have
okay,
been. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that type of thing. Like, that's crazy. So yeah, I think that like, so are you involved in any of the stuff that's going on? Like, when Earth Day happened, did you come back to experience?
Yeah, I always
Earth
come
Day?
back for the events like Bunny Day. That was a nightmare. Eggs everywhere. Luckily, I had just finished my fossil collection, so I didn't mind the bugs. But then catching fish,
yeah,
not knowing. I mean, I guess you could get a guaranteed fish, if you used, fish bait. But the problem is, it took forever to
get the bait, to get them, craft them. It just takes too long.
By one.
That needs to get fixed. What are some things you would fix in this game?
I guess that basically just like the crafting.
Mm-hmm.
I would make it so I could get my tickets. So once you get 100, you either buy yourself 100 items, or you use Nook shopping, like at the ATM.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to use that 100 times, you get it on your cell phone.
Yeah.
So you can just buy them. I want the same thing for my. I want the same thing for like the Nook tickets. I don't want to have to go there.
Yeah.
Or at least let me put like another device somewhere else, like in my house, where I can just run to it and buy them there. Another thing would be, let me have my phone connected to my bank account and then just use that as like Nook Pay or something.
Yeah.
So I don't need to run back and buy money.
That does stink when you have to go back to the ATM to get money to go back to the store. Because that happened to me yesterday. I was in the town. Oh, I went to Teresa's town, right? Yeah. I went to her town to do a tour, and I was like, oh, I want to go to your Able Sisters and buy something. I went in, I was like, oh God, I forgot to bring money. And like, that's the other problem. Why can't I go into your ATM and tap my money?
Yeah.
Like, that's so I can't even access your terminal. And that would be like, and I understand why they don't want you to, because they don't want you to go in and get the Nook items out of there, or the Nook Mile stuff. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I get what you're trying to buy, but man, can't you just put an ATM in there that I could just go tap the Mac and get money? I'm saying it like that makes me sound super old, but whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But can't I get ATM? You know.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's just crazy. The other thing too is I wish they would change. I wish they would add more to the Nook Miles. Like, I hate the fact that it's like the same stuff that it's been since we started the game.
Oh, like the tickets?
Yeah, like
just the tickets and then all those items.
Yeah, like they changed the fences, yes, but once you buy out all the fences, that's it, right? And that's the other thing. Like, why, when I buy a fence and I can't rebuy it, why do you put it in front of my face to try to buy it again? Because the only thing you're going to say to me is like, hey, you already know how to do this. So it's like,
right,
what's
yeah.
the point?
So you got to keep track yourself of which ones you have.
Yeah.
Or just keep going until you have all of them. Because I ended up I was going forward a few days in a row. I wish they would have a list of the DIYs that you can get and which ones you don't have. So then you can kind of see which ones you need to tell people, rather than just seeing a whole bunch of them on the ground and just picking them up and then checking to see, oh wait, no, I already know this one, so throwing it down.
Yeah, that's the other thing that bothers me is the multiples of DIYs you get. Like, there's some really fantastic DIYs out there.
Yeah.
If you're not gonna let me, like, if you're giving it to me, just give me new ones. Like, this is the how everything is so super rare, and there's just stuff that's really easy to get, and I'm getting multiples of them. Like, come on, man. Let me get some of the stuff that's fun but rare. You know, it's just that was probably my most annoying and frustrating thing as I was trying to build to a 5-star town or island. I didn't just want to use the stuff that they were giving me. I wanted to try to use stuff I liked. And it was like, this is rough, man, because it was hard to find stuff that they were giving me on the regular that I liked, because there was a lot of stuff I just didn't like.
Yeah. Not only that, but then you got some things are better than others, like the watering can, the gold watering can.
Mm-hmm.
You can turn the black roses and stuff into gold ones.
Yes.
But then the other stuff, like the gold shovel, I've tried burying bags of 99,000 bells, and it doesn't seem to increase the chances of getting 3 bags of 99,000 bells back.
That's something else that I want to talk about. Because, so, in the older games, when you buried 99,000 bells, you got 300,000 bells popping up, or whatever the equivalent is, whatever.
298.
Yeah, whatever the hell it is. But in this one, you do it, and you're not always guaranteed it. But there's people that really do. There's people that came onto one of my tree videos, and there were people coming in there getting belligerent with me. Because they were like, no, I get 99 every time. And I'm like, no, I'm thinking to myself, no, you don't. Like, no, that's not true, man. Like, I tested it out myself, and I was putting 99 in and getting 30,000. Now, you did it as well, and you said after a while, it started to kind of trigger and course correct, right?
Well, it just seems random, because I would do it, and it would be like, I might get 2 in a row that are 99,000, but then I might get 3 that are 30,000, or I might get 3 that are 10,000 apiece.
Yeah. And to me, that's not worth the risk. Like, I'd rather just drop 10 in there and know that I'm getting 30,000. Like,
yeah,
it sucks to put 100,000 in there, basically, and not get it back.
The reason I don't mind sometimes is because, let's say my inventory is just about full. I get rid of the 99,000, then I can take the 1,000 and just throw it in my wallet. And then it won't take up space. But that's a me problem more than anyone else. Like, I end up carrying around
650 million bells, I guess so. There, old Rockefeller over there.
Yeah. The other thing would be the Able sisters. Since you go into the dressing room, and if they send you the clothes to your house anyway, to your inventory at home, I don't know why you can't just select multiple rather than, okay, I want this hat, that hat, that hat. And I would also like it if they told me what I already own or bought.
I know. You know how many times I multi-purchase, and then days later when I go into my wardrobe, I'm like, why do I have 5 of these? Like, I don't. Why do I keep buying these things? Because obviously I like it, so I see it and I go, ooh. But you know what? It might be like a certain style I like, and then I go, oh, I have this in red, I have this in black. Oh, let me buy the gray and the blue. And then it's like, no, you don't have the black, you have the gray. And you already bought another gray now, you idiot. Like,
right, yeah.
So it would be nice if there's a way to, like, just tell you. But there's a lot of people that want a shopping cart. And it's like, let me just pick as much as I want. Like, dude, there's certain shoes, I would literally pick every color. And the thing is, like, if you have the money, just let it go.
Yeah, I think it depends on the mood I'm in. If I'm like, okay, I don't mind going and getting every color hat, depending on what it is. Like, they had the power armor, you get the power hat, power armor head. Yeah, I would do that sometimes. But if I'm not in the mood, I'll be like, that looks pretty cool, I'll buy one of them, send them since I'm already here, and then don't feel like going back in, talking to her. It's another thing. Going to a friend's island or something, you gotta talk to just a lot of talking before you get what you want. I think, because if you buy 100 things from the shopping catalog, why not, when I fly 100 times, just let me book a flight right from my phone. Just let me see whose islands are open. Just click on them and go right to them.
It would make it easier, right?
Yeah.
I think the problem is that they feel Nintendo. When I say they feel the need to keep some stuff of tradition still there. Like the stuff that they're making us do for this game is the train station, is the bus, is all the stuff that we essentially did back in the day. And it's like, I get what you did. I love the flyover the first time. You know what I mean? Like, now it's like, oh, please stop. Please just stop. Like, some towns, don't get me wrong, I love the flyover. I like the flyover. That's probably the only thing I like. I don't like the watching the ticker thing pop up and say who's coming to town. I just wish it was quicker. It was snappier. And I don't know how you fix that. Like, on a technical side. Like, I know what I would do. It would just be like, hey, you want to go over there? Done. You go. But technically, I don't know how that works for Nintendo. Like, I don't know.
That's all just disguising the loading.
Yeah, exactly. It's all loading times. Because, look at it. There's times where I look at the loading screens, and it seems like it goes pretty quick. Right? Like, when I go to a certain town. But then there's other times, like, no offense, Spoopy, but when Spoopy comes to somebody's town, oh my god, I feel like I'm about to, like, lose my mind. I feel like I'm, like, it's taking forever. But I know she has bad internet. Like, she might not even be in the chat because she might not even be able to watch the stream tonight. Like, she's got that third world country internet. Not really. Not really. She's in Ireland, but it's still...
The old hand crank internet, yeah.
Exactly. She's sitting like, ring, and it just goes. But... No, I love her to death, and I'll just tease him. But the thing is like, no, it's true, though. Some people come to town, and it seems like it's quicker than other people. So it's obviously a loading time thing, and that's all it is. But, man, the worst is, like, you're trying to get 8 people into town, and you get to, like, 7, and then all of a sudden it crashes. And it's like, oh, you gotta be kidding me, man. You gotta be kidding me. We gotta do this all over again. And that load time, and the wait, and it's like, it would be so much better if it was just snappier.
Yeah, that's true. But sometimes it's worth it because one of the, you know what? Let me change my answer from before. One of the best experiences I've had, probably, maybe in a while in a video game, was we had late night. Oh, get ready for this. Late night musical chairs. Okay,
dude, I've heard this on a play. It's so bad.
$100,000 buy-in. You start with 5 people. Someone's playing the ocarina.
Are you serious?
Someone's playing the ocarina, and they're just playing it, and you got 6 people running around. Well, no, it would be six chairs, and then you got 7 people running around. One person plays the ocarina. Boom. All but one person goes in. Then you move to another section where there's 5 tables, or chairs. And then finally the last one is just a tree stump. And you just gotta both run around the tree stump and then jump on it. And the winner gets the pot.
Okay, chat, we're doing this tomorrow night. I'm gonna set it up in my town. We're gonna do it. 100,000 bell buy-in. We're gonna make it happen. Because that would be fantastic.
$1 million.
Oh, what?
Yeah. $1 million buy-in. Let's do it.
Oh, you're doing million? I mean, I got $1 million, but there's a lot. Well, you know what? There's a lot of billionaires rolling around here, so maybe we can do that. We'll do a $1 million bell buy-in.
And then the final one, when there's just 2 people, then people were making side bets on who they thought was going to win out of those 2. Yeah.
So somebody plays the ocarina,
and then
they
just got to be someone that's not playing. Yeah.
So why? I mean, I guess you could do the recorder. You could do turn on the music.
Well, because they play it, and then as soon as it stops, they boom.
Well, yeah, but you also take breaks when you're blowing into the thing. It's not a hold down button that keeps blowing, does it?
No, you just keep tapping A, but then he puts it away, or when he switches his item.
Oh, so he plays, and then
then you know that it's time to jump on.
We'll figure it out. We'll make it better than that. But still, that's high stakes, man. That's good stuff.
Well, maybe not $1 million. Yeah, 100,000 would probably be better for some people.
Yeah,
probably for most people.
Yeah, 100,000 would be amazing.
I mean, even if you're just doing it with friends, you can do 10,000 buy-in.
Yeah, who cares? I'm gonna clear a section off, chat. We're gonna do this tomorrow night. This is
you gotta get 6. You gotta get 6 chairs, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then they got to be ones that can go close to each other and then next to each other, so that everyone's just running in a circle around it.
So I got one. I got one that's just as good.
Yeah.
I go to an island. Tori is the girl's name. Play is her name, and she calls me over to this area. Dude, she has sumo wrestling. And what she does is she has a little dirt square, right? And then she puts pitfalls all around the outside. And then she goes over and she counts 3, 2, 1, and then she has a ring bell and she hits the ring bell, and then you and the person start pushing each other until one person falls in. It is so cool, man.
That's pretty good.
It was fun.
Pitt was in chat, and he had like a maze. He basically turned his whole island into a maze, and it was pretty dope. Someone said the $10 million buy-in for me, that can't happen because I can only hold like 4.6 or 4.8 million. That's all that they allow me to hold.
You can bring it over, drop it, go back to your town, get the other.
I'll just bring crowns and then go into your Nook's Cranny, sell all my crowns, and then I'll have 10 million.
There you go. That works. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. What I should do is, as the host, I should go, I'm going to put 500,000 bells up, and everybody else has to put 100,000 bells on top. You know what I mean? So it's $100,000 bell buy-in, and I put 500,000 on top as a prize, and then we see who wins.
And you tip the host.
You don't have to tip me. That's fine.
I got a tip for you.
Come on, this is not that kind of show. Stop it. Oh man, Chris, this has been a lot of fun, man. We're getting ready to wrap.
Okay.
Let people know real quickly where they can find you and all that stuff.
You can find me trying to find Puck to join my island, trying to get Stitches. And what's the robot? What's his?
Rebuy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to pay arm and a leg through Animal Crossing amiibo cards. But you can find me on SuperNintenDad pretty much on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, things like that.
So before we wrap, we have an announcement. I have an announcement.
Don't lump me in this.
So, after some serious consideration, next week will be the final episode of Breaking Bells. I have decided that I am going to bring on Teresa. She's in the chat now, Ice Cold Penguin. We are going to stream on YouTube next week rather than Twitch, just to be a finale to go out. But I'm doing 2 podcasts now that are Animal Crossing related, and it's going to be very difficult to do topics. Now, part of my mindset is, well, they're 2 different shows to some degree. And the other mindset is I need to put focus on 1, not 2. And it makes it a little tough to come up with ideas and topics for one show and then line up guests for that show and then line up guests for this show and then think of topics, because this is not like a show like this with you is easy. We're friends, we know each other, we can banter off each other, we can bounce off each other. That's easy. It's hard when you bring someone on that you don't know and you don't know what they're going to say and how they are, you know what I mean? Like, I've done this where I've asked people. Yeah.
I'm just processing this. I didn't know this was coming to an end, and now it's ending, and I just need to. All right, okay. I need to pull myself together. It's going to be all right. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. So the idea is, again, next week will be the final episode of Breaking Bells. Trust me, I'm struggling with it. It's not easy to do. Believe me, it's not something I want to do. I mean, legitimately, it's the number 2 podcast in the world. So it's not a failure by any stretch of the imagination. It is an overly successful podcast. It's my most popular podcast that I do,
Right
and I
behind
know
Cup of
that.
Joe.
It's bigger than a Cup of Joe. It really is. It really is, and by leaps and bounds. But that's not saying it's a bad show. It's just saying this is the one that's really big. Mm-hmm. So, oh boy, Teresa's throwing her hat in the ring. Let's just see how next week goes, Teresa, and then we'll talk. So Teresa's saying, "I'll be your co-host. I'll do it." So here's the thing: next Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Rather than Twitch, we're going to do this on YouTube, just because I want to try it over there and see what the reaction is on YouTube. And then for the last time, that'll be all. So for now, you can follow me Instagram, Twitter, @Nintendo Gurus. That is all. Peace out, Preston.